Hi, welcome to part one of our Alaska trip. This video includes our travels from Everett to Campbell River, British Columbia, and is our first week of travel. So thanks for joining. Stay tuned to the end and you'll see not only a summary of our trip, but also some of the issues we had and how we overcame them. This portion of the trip covered about 190 miles of cruising, and so enjoy.
Good morning from the Port of Everett. Looks like a fantastic day to start Phoenix's Farthest North trip. Beautiful morning. Mountains are out. Taking Gooser for a morning walk. Hey Gooser. Good morning.
And we're off to our trip to Alaska.
Woohoo!
Just left Everett Marina and heading north around Campbell Island. Goose and Susie and I are all on board safely.
Yeah, having our morning coffee.
Having our morning coffee, getting ready to test the water maker in a little bit. Beautiful, calm waters. And we're heading to the Bayliner Rendezvous in Roche Harbor in the San Juan Islands for a few days before we continue north. Great start to our trip. Alright, here's our water maker test. We've slowly cranked it up. We've got almost about 17 gallons per hour. We're at the lower end of the pressure, 600. We can crank that up to 800, but we'll leave it there. And here's the resulting fresh water that I've got it going here, but can also go to fill our tank. So right now I'm just kind of flushing. And after about, I think it's 15 minutes, this water will be safe to drink. We're just flushing out the filter. The TDS count is about 106, 109, 111. And that'll judge whether it's safe to drink. Okay, here's our first taste test out of our water maker, drinking directly from the ocean, salt water.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Refreshing.
Tastes good.
Yep.
Cruising up beautiful Sarasota Passage. If every day was like today, boating would be wonderful. More wonderful than it is. Flat, calm waters, no wind, making good time. What a great day. So we're approaching Deception Pass, one of the major passes we have to go through early in our trip. Typically we would want to time this at slack tide, but we spent a little bit too much time getting fuel at Oak Harbor. It took a little bit longer than anticipated, so we're going to hit it going through at about 4.5 knots against us, which is pretty significant because this pass is pretty narrow. If you look in the video, you'll see some whirlpools gathering to the left. It's easy to take a boat and spin it around. Also, if you pay attention, just as we're going underneath the bridge, you'll notice me speed up. I'm at probably 80% power, just to keep the current from taking the nose and spinning us around. So enjoy the video. So the Bayliner Rendezvous, we joined at Roche for 4 days. Really a great bunch of people. It's really a fun time. This is the second rendezvous we've been to. Eileen and Wade and their family did an absolute fantastic job of hosting. It was incredible. It was really a lot of fun, and it's great to connect with fellow boaters. Specifically, the Bayliner Rendezvous is a gathering of boats of the Bayliner model, which are now not produced anymore. The Bayliner model was produced in the 90s, and it really made boating affordable for people in the Puget Sound. And so a lot of us have the boats. They're really incredible boats, and it's a great way to connect with boating in our community. Anyway, we had a great time. We hope to be back. Sometimes this is too early in the year for us to get back, but it's really a fun time to go.
I'll have to be careful where I post that one.
Woohoo! We're officially off. Here we go.
Starting day 5, we're leaving Roche Harbor, where we had 4 great days with the Bayliner Rendezvous, and today's plan is we're going to cruise to Montague, check in with customs, and if the weather's good, we're going to keep going north. If not, we'll spend the night in Montague.
Cross your fingers.
Good weather.
Yep.
A beautiful day out. We cleared customs and do not have to report to Montague. And we're gonna cruise past Montague, take a look in the Strait of Georgia and see what the weather looks like. Just picking up a little bit here. We'll see what it looks like outside and see if we continue or go back to Montague for the night. We're blitzing through the Gulf Islands with good time. Weather really flattened out and is nice. We've had some great summers on the Gulf Islands, exploring the area, but not today. Today we're just blitzing through it on our way.
We're approaching Corlear Pass, which separates Galiano Island and Valdez Island. So we'll say to the south side of Black Rock and Virago Rock for safety.
pass, we're now entering the Strait of Georgia, which can get pretty rough weather. Kicking up a little bit, but it doesn't look bad. And luckily, we'll have the wind and the waves both in our face, so that'll help us get through it a little bit easier. So just to prove every day isn't perfect weather conditions, but it's not bad. We're getting a little splashing over the fly bridge, a little bit up here on the windows. But so far we're heading right into the waves and into the wind, and very manageable for the boat. Just a little bit bumpy today. We've got a few bailout areas if we need to, now that we're out of the protection of the islands and heading across the Strait of Georgia. You can probably see by the windshield, it's got a little rougher. Settled down enough that I can take a little video. So, yeah, it's going to be a bumpy ride today. We're still going by Nanaimo here on our left and heading up the Strait of Georgia. We'll see what it looks like here over the next 5 or 10 minutes. If we have to, we'll scoot back into Nanaimo. Finally, after about 8 hours of swearing, the water finally calmed down and we're able to complete the last couple of hours to Hornby Island, which was our intended destination. We did get fortunate in that outside of Nanaimo, right in the middle of the Strait of Georgia, is an area called Whiskey Gulf. Whiskey Gulf is an area that is used by the Canadian military, the Navy, to test torpedoes. And so you have to call ahead every day to find out if it's open, active or not. And if it's active, you're not allowed in that area. You need to stay outside of it. If you do go in that area, the most likely thing that will happen is you'll get escorted out of that area by the Coast Guard or the Navy. Of course, the worst case scenario would be a torpedo would lock onto your boat, and that would be a very bad day. Luckily, it was not active today, and we were able to travel directly up the strait, and that saved quite a bit of time on our journey. Tribune Bay, British Columbia. That's us, way out there. Took Gooser in for a shore break before we take off for the day. Beautiful beach. Fresh bear tracks. Gotta be.
Doug and Gooser coming back in from their run out at Tribune Bay. Gooser's in there somewhere.
So this wraps up our first week of our trip to Alaska. We went to Roche Harbor, had a great time at the Bayliner Rendezvous. Then we cruised up to Tribune Bay for a night, little rocky water on the Georgia Strait.
Yep.
And then we cruised up here to Campbell River, and we spent 2 days here in Discovery Bay Marina.
So we've had 6 out of 7 nights in a marina, which is not our usual, but
Usually it's opposite of that. Usually we're 6 out of 7 nights on anchor. So, but I think that's going to turn around soon. We plan to leave here tomorrow and hopefully head north. At least we're leaving the marina, but we may only be heading a half mile if the weather doesn't cooperate. Then we'll anchor over at Galland Bay. If the weather's good, we'll proceed up Seymour Rapids and head further north.
this marina break has given us a good time to kind of work through the shakedown cruise findings.
What? Findings? We had some issues?
But just a few.
We might have had a few. So the autopilot stopped working on the way up the Georgia Strait. And so we troubleshot that. I thought it was the pump, and here's what we did. Okay, so turn it to auto, and then turn it, hit 10, 10, 10, one direction. There we go, that's moving. Now hit it back the other direction. Do the left one more. And so the autopilot seems to be working now. The fluid pressure was low, and so I pumped that back up to 40 psi, and hopefully that's the issue and it resolves it, but we really won't know until we're underway. The other issue we had is our starboard battery wasn't kicking over the engine, so we had to basically jump it from the other battery, and we tested that, and here's the test of that. Okay, whenever you're ready. Yay, great. Yep. Okay, do it again. Okay, and one more time. That's good. Okay. And so I think based upon that, the battery's good. It's same performance as the port battery, and so I basically just tightened all the connections. I'm hoping that's what it was a bad connection. I did disconnect that battery bank when I installed the water maker, so maybe something got a little bit out of whack. So I redid all the connections. And then
I noticed one of our kayaks had a tear in the bottom, and it looked like it was losing some air. So
we hiked the mountain and tapped a tree and built some of our own tree sap, and I think we're gonna work out fine on patching that. And here's the video what that looks like. Our kayak's usable life is over. Susie bought a new toy. Smile, Susie.
hey, hey, woo! Let's take her out.
Cheese.
Woo! In it. Place her kayak. Try her out. Yeah, it's pretty stable. It is till it's not.
And then what else? Anything else happen? Our bilge pump stuck on, but that's okay. Fixed that. We had a little drainage problem, but it cleared the blockage of that in the boat. But I think that's about it. Campbell River was fun. We spent the last 2 days here tooling around, provisioning. It's a great place to provision. The Canadian Tire store is fabulous. They have a great superstore. What do they call it? Superstore.
Superstore, yeah.
We tried out a new restaurant last night,
Mm-hmm.
Vietnamese. Very, very good. I had the curry. Susie had the beef pho.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That was delicious. I'd go back.
Yep. And then we're in Canada, so.
Trying out some local brews.
And so every time I get to Canada, Lucky Lager was my dad's favorite beer. And growing up, he loved it. My dad's been gone for 35 plus years, but I still remember him drinking Lucky Lager beer. And so every time I come here, I have to have some. And so here's to Dad.
Later from the Phoenix.
Bye.